How you doing? I'm Callan and this is Slapped Ham. All around the world there are plenty of creepy haunted locations. Cemeteries, hotels and battlefields are common places you might go ghost hunting. However, have you ever been worried about running into a spirit in a place where you drink your spirits? Today we'll be exploring America's most haunted bars. But as always, before we get into it, hit that subscribe button for more interesting, creepy content just like this. You wouldn't think a polite ghost would be very frightening, but according to patrons of one of America's most haunted bars, Tiger's Taproom in Tucson, the resident apparitions' courteous displays can be just as chilling as those of the more violent ghosts that other bars allegedly boast. Many believe that the haunted history of Tiger's Taproom originated in room 242 of Hotel Congress, the hotel that the bar is attached to. A woman staying in this room tragically ended her life many years ago. In fact, you can still see the bullet hole in the wall of the room's closet. Despite the tragic way that her life ended, the woman's ghost doesn't seem angry when she visits Tiger's Taproom. In fact, the most common story patrons tell about her is that they'll hear a disembodied voice saying "bless you" when someone sneezes. Yet, a kind-hearted gesture can still be frightening when coming from a ghost. For anyone familiar with the haunted history of the Big Easy, it comes as no surprise that one of America's most haunted bars calls New Orleans home. Lafitte's blacksmith shop gets its name from Jean Lafitte, a notorious smuggler and privateer who used the blacksmith shop that used to reside in the building as a front for his operations. According to the owners of the bar that took over the spot, Jean and his brother Pierre still haunt the place because of the fond memories they have of their lives there. Patrons say that the bar's fireplace is the hub for paranormal activity in the bar. This was where the brothers stored their personal supply of gold. Many staff members and visitors have reported seeing a pair of glowing red eyes in the shadows of the fireplace and being touched by an icy hand when they sit too close to it. Perhaps these manifestations are a warning to keep your distance from the Lafitte gold. The White Eagle pub started out as a typical saloon. The bar's reputation gradually declined, and the seedy criminal activities that eventually called the pub home are thought to be the cause of its current hauntings. The White Eagle pub is haunted by many ghosts, which is understandable given its history. As the area became industrialized, it began to be patronized by shady characters. The pub eventually began serving as a brothel, and it's said that many of the men who patronized the bar were kidnapped and forced to work on ships docked nearby. There have been many strange things reported by patrons of the bar, such as coins falling from the ceiling, perhaps a nod to its history as a brothel. However, the most disturbing story is blamed on the ghost of the bar's former bouncer. He was a nasty, rough man in life and remained so in death. A waitress at the pub reported that the bouncer's ghost pushed her down a flight of stairs, causing numerous injuries and quite a scare, no doubt. The Menger Hotel Bar is famous for being the place where Theodore Roosevelt recruited men to fight with him in the Spanish-American War. However, it's also one of America's most haunted bars. There are apparently a number of ghosts that have decided to stick around this storied bar. Some staff members claim that they've even seen the spirit of Theodore Roosevelt, sitting at the bar watching them when they're cleaning up after closing time. However, some of the less recognisable ghosts haunting the establishment give the staff and visitors more of a scare. Patrons report that they'll sometimes reach for their glasses only to find they've inexplicably moved. Even more frightening are the accounts by staff members claiming that glasses have flown across the room at them and shattered against the wall. You'll likely find Shaker's Cigar Bar on many lists of America's most haunted bars, but for years no one knew why the place seemed to be a seat of paranormal activity. In recent years, the owners of the bar have discovered that the place was built atop of one of Wisconsin's earliest cemeteries. This would certainly explain the bizarre occurrences that many patrons and visitors have reported. Many of the stories about Shaker's Cigar Bar are similar to other stories about haunted locales. doorknobs turning and objects moving without explanation, and pianos playing themselves. However, the most terrifying part of the bar's haunted reputation centers around the bathroom. Many patrons have reported flicking on the bathroom light only to be faced with the ghost of a young girl who apparently resides there. She doesn't seem to be angry or vengeful, but she certainly gives people a fright when she appears without warning. Baltimore isn't the first city that comes to mind when people think about haunted locations, but residents of this city in Maryland are no stranger to spooky happenings. Many of the town's eerie stories can be traced back to its most famous resident, Edgar Allan Poe. The horse you came in on was one of Poe's haunts when he called Baltimore home, and the owners of the bar claim that he still visits. Although no one reports seeing Poe's ghostly apparition haunting the bar, the paranormal occurrences that they have experienced are usually blamed on the deceased rider. Staff members say that Poe often expresses his anger and woe by pushing glasses off shelves, or even causing glasses to explode where they sit. Numerous bartenders who call themselves skeptics have been converted into believers when Poe makes his presence known. What could be a more fitting location for one of America's most haunted bars than the site of a former mortuary? The building in Seattle, Washington, where Kel's Irish Pub resides, was once a morgue built specifically for handling the influx of bodies produced by the rampant spread of diphtheria and frequent mining accidents in the early 20th century. Dr. Linda Hazard was one of the dead brought into the Seattle mortuary. Her claim to fame was her belief that illness could be cured through starvation, and she subjected many patients to this cruel treatment. Many believe that it's her spirit, angry at her post-mortem reputation for torture, that causes many of the more violent paranormal happenings in the bar. The most frightening reports of ghostly activity in the pub revolve around mirrors and glasses suddenly shattering, or pieces of plaster inexplicably breaking off the walls as if struck by an angry hand. Whether or not Linda Hazard is to blame, there is certainly an angry ghost roaming the halls of Kel's Irish Pub. The bar and restaurant known as the Fenton Hotel used to be a highly trafficked inn. Many guests met their ends in the hotel over the years, and visitors and staff have seen plenty of unexplained apparitions roaming the halls. According to the bartenders, some of the ghosts even order drinks but disappear before they can be served. However, the most infamous spirit haunting this Michigan bar is that of the hotel's former custodian, Emery. Visitors and staff often hear the sound of his boots treading the upstairs hallways of the building. However, some believe that he also visits the bar itself and pays unwanted attention to the waitresses. Many female servers working at the bar have reported feeling mysterious hands grabbing at their arms, and sometimes even more inappropriate body parts. Some blame the ghost of former guests, but many believe that Emery is the culprit. The Orient Express is a unique spot. It started out as a diner but now operates as a bar. The place is made up of 7 decommissioned train cars, one of which apparently belonged to Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Visitors of the Orient Express immediately find themselves feeling disoriented by the bizarre setup of the bar. To move through the rail cars that make up the building, they must move through a series of narrow corridors and confusing switchbacks that make it easy to get lost. This confounding setup makes the paranormal events that happen in this bar feel even eerier. No one knows exactly who the ghost of the Orient Express is, but everyone agrees that the spirit is not a happy one. The ghost seems to have a special dislike for the bar's owner. According to staff members, the spirit frequently causes light bulbs above the owner's head to suddenly and violently explode. Before we get to that number 1 spot and take a look at a terrifying saloon in Key West, Florida, remember to hit that subscribe button and turn on channel notifications. That way you'll get updates on all our latest content. Captain Tony's Saloon has one of the more eventful and disturbing histories of any of America's most haunted bars. The building was once a morgue, That morgue was destroyed when a hurricane struck the Keys, washing many bodies awaiting burial into the ocean. There is also evidence that during the building's construction, a tree was cut down that had been used for hangings, including the lynching of a woman accused of killing her husband and children. Many of the hauntings in Captain Tony's saloon centre around the ladies' restroom. Many women using the restroom have found themselves locked inside the stalls, or heard the outer door slam when using the facilities. One staff member has even reported hearing a voice whisper, "Don't leave," in the restroom. No one knows what spirit is causing these bizarre occurrences, but any who have encountered it hope they never meet it again.
If you want more haunted locations, then check out that video there or the playlist right there. Leave us a comment down below or hit that thumbs up button because it lets us know you're enjoying the content. And that's it for me. I'll see you all next time.